Jesus Christ, people! I just got back from watching Diddy's allegations, yo. That's a wild boy right there, man. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about why men change as soon as they fall in love with you, and this is something that it's kind of like a bait and switch, and this happens to everyone. Everyone changes when they fall in love. The direction where they change is what really matters, right? The people could change for the better or they could change for the worse. And a lot of the times it depends on the person's character, how they deal with power, how they deal with knowing that you're not willing to leave. That's a reflection of their character, but also it's a reflection of how much they like you. All right, so we're gonna be watching my old video where I talked about this, and we're gonna see whether or not I agree with Evil Alex, and I'm gonna stop it from time to time and react to it. Okay, so let's begin with the video. Sorry, people.
Like a bowl.
All right, ladies, this is Alex from Mindful Attraction. Today we're going to be talking about why men change as soon as they fall in love with you. Right? No, even not even that. Why men change as soon as you fall in love with them. All right, and women see this a lot, where they're dating a guy and he's super sweet, super nice until they fall in love, and all of a sudden that dude who was super sweet and super nice turns domineering and abusive in a way, right? And let's find out why that is and how can you avoid that in your life. All right, look, man, generally speaking, when it comes to women, men have projections. Usually men are not interacting with you, they're interacting with their fantasies. They'll see you for what they want, they won't see you for who you are. That's why a lot of women get frustrated when guys just see their bodies and they don't see them for who they are. The reason why that is because there's intense emotions, and the guy has so many desires that he doesn't have the time to really look at you and accept you for who you are, right?
It's almost like when you're afraid, right? Or if you smoke weed, for example, and you feel paranoid, you're gonna see danger everywhere, right? Your anxiety is gonna see danger everywhere. If you're angry, you're gonna see aggression everywhere as well. You're gonna project it. If you're happy, you're gonna project happiness onto other people. So it's pretty much your dark side that creates those types of projections. And a lot of people don't do shadow work. A lot of people don't work on themselves. And so that's why it's very difficult for some of these guys, especially when they're young. And when they're older, it goes down big time. But when they're young, the projection mechanism is really strong.
And that what would happen then is that for some women, the lack of attention they're getting from that guy sort of makes them want the attention, right? And they end up falling in love with that guy. And the reason why they end up falling in love with that guy is because the guy doesn't treat them with the love that they want. And so rather than them getting turned off, you sort of, it activates an insecure mechanism in you in a way, and it makes you chase him. It's almost like the bad father. He doesn't give you attention. And what you do is that you don't leave your father because you don't have anybody else to go to. You just begin to act out, right? And you begin to accept that that's how relationships are, right? So generally speaking, when a guy notices that you fell in love with him, he'll sense the power that he has over you. And usually, when a guy feels that a woman is in love with him, and he sort of has lukewarm interest in her, or he already has certain fantasies in his head, he's gonna use her as a way to fulfill his fantasies, right? And he'll use you, and you want to give it to him because you think that's gonna make him fall in love with you, right? But what the guy's doing, he's not really interacting with you. He's interacting with his own fantasies.
Yeah, he's interacting with a phantom, and you know this because of the hot and cold. This is the way fantasies and projections work. Once they get satisfied, once the projecting mechanism gets satisfied in the man's mind, what you'll notice is that his desire for you will decrease for that moment. And then once he feels more desire for you, the projecting mechanism will rise again. So it comes in waves, the projecting mechanism. And if you don't satisfy his projections, if you don't give him what he wants, what you'll notice is that his projecting mechanism will turn aggressive and get harder, and they'll become more persistent. And if you completely leave them, they'll become obsessed with you. And if they don't do any self-work, they'll end up loving you the rest of their lives. And they'll think they love you when in reality, it's just they have a projecting mechanism that they haven't learned to control. You know? And this is something that you could use for your benefit, because every man has some kind of projecting mechanism towards women. You got to find what that is, and poke at those projecting mechanism, because that will blind him from losing interest. That will blind him from your neediness. Seriously, if you're needy and you hit on one of those projecting mechanisms, it'll let him look over your neediness. And how do you find those things? Well, it depends. That's a video in and of itself. But generally speaking, you got to find what he lacked in his childhood. You got to find the type of relationship that he had with his parents, because there lies the projecting mechanism. You got to find out who are the people who he fell in love with. What are the toxic traits that they're willing to tolerate, and that'll show you the projecting mechanism.
Right? His dark side comes out when he falls in love with you.
There you go.
Because he sees you as an easy victim. You're there for him. You love him. So he sort of says, all right, she loves me. Let me fulfill my fantasy.
One of the laws of human nature is that, one, we're always sending signs of strength or weaknesses. Two, I forgot the other ones.
To her. And so he'll use you as that object, as an object to fulfill his fantasies, right? But what you're seeing is not him changing. It's him being himself. It's him being himself even more, right? Because the whole time he was acting. You see, what you guys ladies don't understand is that a lot of guys have a lot of repressed desires, right? Repressed desires. And they get rejected often. And whenever they find somebody, a woman who likes them, who doesn't reject them, it's something new for them, for most guys. And that's a lot of power. A woman there willing to do anything for them is a lot of power for some guys. And they turn tyrannical. And their repressed side that wants control comes out. And because you want his validation, you'll assume that his negative emotions come because you're misbehaving. But in reality, it's coming because that's his dark side. You know, he really wants to control and dominate. And he's tired of being abused, tired of being played by other women, rightfully so, right? But he's redirecting that negative energy in a negative way.
You know, one of the things that something that's very interesting is that victims of if you're a victim of abuse, a lot of the times the victim of abuse end up being perpetrators of abuse, right? A lot of pedophiles, right, that get touched as children, they end up touching children when they grow up. If you want to find out who will be somebody who will rob someone, find somebody who's being the victim of being robbed. If you know somebody who's gonna shoot someone, find somebody who's been shot at. If you know somebody who's gonna commit war crimes, find the victim of war crime. If you know somebody who's gonna commit a genocide, find the victim of a genocide. The way that this works is that the victims perpetrate the same things that were done to them, because they know no other way, right? And a lot of these people who are victims of people's malintent, yes, they're victims, but we have to also be careful, because if you're also a victim of a narcissist, you could easily become a narcissist. That's just how that works. It's a virus that gets infected. They not only stick their fangs on your neck, but they also instill a venom, the same venom that turned them into a monster. It's gonna turn you. You know, it's just how that nature works, and that's why. You know, it's almost like racism, right? Like, you see a lot of reverse racism in the community nowadays, where, like, Whitey is being attacked now, right? Because Whitey, I call him Whitey as a term of endearment. Whitey Whitey was doing reckless shit in back in the day. You know I'm talking about, Bob? You know I'm talking about, Bob, right? Come on, Bob. You know Bob. You know what I'm saying, Bob? And so now the think about it, right? You're black and you're being oppressed by fucking Bob the racist. And what do you think happens in your heart? You develop hatred towards this skin group. That's racism. You know, you get what I'm saying? You being a victim of racism turns you racist. And you know what? You have every right to feel that way. You know? But what happens is that once those people start to gain power, what would happen is that if black people, for example, gain complete power, do you not think that some people in that community will feel resentment towards Whitey and want to exact revenge? Yeah, that's what happens. If you guys seen Attack on Titan, you'll notice that genocide happens because the victims of genocide want revenge. That's how that works. And they rationalize that. You know, people, the road to hell was paved with good intention. People never do things because they think they're evil. A lot of the times, the evilest people thought they were good. You don't think Hitler thought he was nice? Hitler with his little dog. He had a dog. He loved dogs, people. Yeah, that's right. Little Hitler. Yeah, he loved dogs. He even loved the environment. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Hitler loved the environment. He would even take paintings and paint the environment. Oh, I love the environment. I love my dog. Yeah, that's right. He'll go on a march with you next time you march against against oil. Yeah, And so it's kind of like the victims of certain crimes usually become the perpetrators, and we have to be very careful of that because when we are attacking our perpetrators, we think we're so justified because we've been victims. But the truth is, you have become your perpetrator. I don't know why we got there, but yeah.
The way that he's using you, because eventually you're gonna get turned off by him. Eventually you're gonna leave him. Eventually you're gonna snap out of it, and he's gonna end up being alone. But the point is, the reason why they end up changing is because their true side comes out. You see, their true side. The thing is about humans is this: humans cannot say no to an easy win. Humans also naturally want to destroy easy targets. It's too easy. But also humans will not attack you if they sense that in the pursuit of an easy victory, they could potentially lose something. Most humans would not go for that. Humans would not naturally choose the easiest target.
That's why we avoid bees, right? Yeah, a bee cannot kill us, but we don't want to get bit, and that fucking hurts.
And men would naturally choose a woman who shows weakness. Now, how do you show weakness? Through giving up your time soon, through being emotional, reacting to him.
And when emotional doesn't mean you can't be emotional. Emotional means walking around with your emotions in your sleeve, not knowing how to be prudent, not knowing how to be more regal with your emotions, being too hood, trying to keep it real, all that shit, man.
See him, that might be a sign of how much you like him, but to a guy, they see that as a sign of weakness. And what ends up happening is that they end up feeling more puffed up. They feel good about themselves, and that gives them the opportunity to back off. And that backing off causes you to get insecure and chase him even harder. And he's feeling more secure because you're chasing him, right? And once you fall in love, he senses that he fully has you. He doesn't budge. He doesn't change for you. You know, he promised he was going to change, but he'll never change. But you're in love with him now. Now you're stuck. You know, and so in reality, it's not that those guys, but you're in love with him now. Now you're stuck. You know, and so in reality, it's not that those guys change, man. It's just that their true side comes out. You know, some people are just waiting for you to fall in love with them, or waiting for you to be fully dependent on them, so that they can show their true light. And you know what? That's kind of smart, because if you want to change this system, you don't change it first. You first go in the system, gain power, and then you change it. Right? You don't demand change initially, right? A guy doesn't demand you to change initially. He'll first wait for you to fall in love with him, and then he'll back off and use what he wants as a leverage to help to make you do what he wants.
And again, not everyone does this, but we have to be aware that some people do this. And the 1 out of 10 times that this does happen, it's worthy to be aware of this in the other 9 times. Because it only takes one time to fuck up your decade.
Because you're really in love with him, right? And that's why you should always be aware of a guy who always be aware of a guy's shadow, you know, because if you're not looking for a guy's shadow, and you're only noticing his good side, again, you're looking at a 2-dimensional flat version of that person. You want to be able to see the contours of a person's shadow, so that you can fully know them as a rounded person, so that you're able to predict what he's going to do, able to predict him back in a way, able to predict his emotional outburst, right? And so that's what happens, man. You know, like, it's unfortunate because it's for some women it's hard, because I can see how it's difficult sensing or being able to tell whether or not a guy is genuine. And that's why you should always keep your distance. That's why you should always control your fantasies and what you see in your head. Because if you don't, you might end up falling in love with the wrong guy. It's just what it is. You might end up falling in love with the wrong guy. You know, and when you're in love with the wrong guy, It's hard to get out. But you know what? If you're in love with the wrong guy, you gotta cut your nose to spite your face, which means that you can't give him the satisfaction of having you like that. You gotta be spiteful with this, which means that even though you want him, you're not gonna give him the satisfaction. You're not gonna give him that ego boost, right? But hey,
Yeah,
some of you,
that's why anger is important. I made a video about that. Why anger is important. Controlled aggression. A lot of the times, people don't really feel what they're supposed to feel, right? Somebody completely plays them, and they don't feel genuine anger. They feel, oh, I'll forgive him. Oh, he needs to heal. That bullshit, right? And because of that, you never really move out. You never really leave. Anger is there to defend you, and a lot of you guys lack that anger, and some things that people do should make you angry, and it just doesn't.
you guys are not even gonna listen to what I'm saying, to be honest with you, when it comes to this subject. But that's what happens. That's why some guys, they just turn evil when they fall in love with it. But it's not that they're changing. It's just who they were. They were just hiding it. This happened to clients of mine, and if you're in that situation, then you gotta take your losses. You gotta take your losses and move on. It's just how it is. Once you see a person's shadow, take your losses. Notice what signs you missed that were clearly there, and learn from that experience and move on and find somebody else. Simple as that.
Yep, that's how it is. Anyways, people, if you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces. One is 19, and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're going to be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man. Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one would teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace, and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women on power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship, and this a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you could read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you could pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. I'm closing the channel.